Welcome to Friday Night Firelight, presented by Mortal Up. I'm Brian Brawdy, your host, broadcasting with Telestream's Wirecast, and sponsored by Nutrient Survival at nutrientsurvival.com, and of course, Firebugs at Firebugs, that's BUGGZ.com. Good evening and welcome to a live version of Friday Night Firelights again. Once again, my apologies for last week. We had a Saturday night Fireside Firelight, because Friday night it was just horrible. Matter of fact, we got the new computers today because it was so bad last Friday in terms of the internet and the storms and apparently some kind of software thing that it just it blew up one old computer. All right, but welcome. We're thrilled to be. We got so much to get to this evening. Let me first off wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day for the mix of you out there, or the McWannabes. Now, I know what you're thinking. I get some pushback before I thank our sponsors. I get some pushback all the time. I go, people say to me, well, Brian, why do you use the term Mick? And I go, well, because I'm all Irish. And they go, well, still. And I go, well, look, Dave Chappelle gets, Chris Rock, they get to call themselves whatever they want. They get to say whatever they want. So for me, it's Mick. And it's my attempt to say to people, remember, I believe in free speech. I believe that you can say whatever you want to say, because candidly, I couldn't care less what you call me, right? So welcome, Mix, one and all. All right. This would also be a really good time to say that my opinions are not necessarily the opinions of my great sponsors. Of course, I'm talking about Nutrient Survival. It's just, listen, with everything going on in the world today, bank runs, grocery runs, big government, big food, big pharma, big everything. It's good to have a little bit of control. And with Nutrient Survival Food, you're able to do just that. We're going to talk next week about my version of a portable pantry and why I think that's so important, because in this day and age, you might have a four-walled pantry, but you never can tell if you're going to be on the go. You got to be able to pack all your nutrient survival stuff. I like to pack it into a bag, hit the road so that I can go wherever I need to. And of course, I want to thank Firebugs. And Firebugs even has, I know you're thinking, well, Brian, you're here by the one fire pit. You've got a second fire pit down the way. But they also have a portable version that allows me to go grab a tent, grab some great nutrient survival food, grab my Firebugs portable, like I like to call it, Firebugs on the fly, grab my stuff and get out the door, because you never can tell. One thing that we can, what is the cliche? One thing we can be certain about is that we can't be certain about the future, whatever. Also, let me thank Telestream's Wirecast. Wouldn't be coming to you live if it weren't for them. And of course, Sean there. Let me also mention Bob Hurt from Firebug, Sean over at Wirecast. And also, I've got to mention Eric Christensen from Nutrient Survival. If you haven't had a chance to check out their YouTube page, you should. And if you're wondering, Brian, why do you keep smacking your hands together? Because it's below freezing out here, right? Once again. So thank goodness for Firebugs. But make sure you check out Eric Christensen over at Nutrient Survival. He's got some really great news reporting. It's better than listening to anything on TV, I think. I listen to him on YouTube, and it's just fantastic stuff. He's got his finger on the pulse, and you're going to want to tune in and give a listen to him. Speaking of fingers on the pulse, as I promised, we're going to talk tonight about, we're going to introduce a new fan favorite. It'll be coming back. We'll probably do an official one next week. I'll check with Wayne to see exactly what he says. But we'll be doing an official Lowlifes Making Headlines. Can't wait to do that. A fan favorite from Pre-Tumor. Fan favorite will be doing that. Just, people making the news that are really just making life miserable for us. We'll be doing that. But a very general one tonight. Oh, also, I need to thank and say hello, I should say. I need to say hello to my good friend Patricia, who's been busy traveling all over on a yacht or a cruise ship or whatever, sending out some great pictures. Thank you for all that. It's glad to have you back in the States. Welcome home, and thanks for listening. All right, so we promised that we would talk about what I think are the Lowlifes Making Headlines. We'll fill in the blanks. You might fill in. It's all about gaslighters, this show, right? These are the people gaslighting us to get us to try to do something that's good for them, but maybe not so good for you and me. And they're very cunning. They're very crafty. They're very sneaky, these guys and girls, right? Don't want to be sexist. These guys and girls, they're very sneaky, because here's the thing. If you and I were going to admit, and I make fun of people all the time for being a pincushion, but if we were going to look at the biology of it, and what do you say? Let's just do that for a minute. If we were going to look at the biology of it, we would say that we really are sponges, right? If you look at all of our, what do you call them, sensory organs, if you like. If you think of vision, if you think of auditory, you think of kinesthetic, you think of olfactory, you think all of it, right? A sixth sense, all of your senses. We're basically catcher's mitts. We're hockey goals, right? We're just a set of uprights waiting for the field goal kicker to kick the ball through. All we are is a sponge. But here's the thing, just like in the visual spectrum, right? The electromagnetic spectrum, just like in the auditory spectrum, just like the olfactory, unless you think you're a bloodhound, you're better than a bloodhound, you have a restricted olfactory sense. You have a restricted, right? You can't see like a grasshopper or a praying mantis. You have a restricted sense of vision. You have a restricted sense of auditory. There's just some things that you and I can't hear. But here's what these crafty gaslighters are up to. They go, okay, great. Since they're kind of biologically sponges already, let's convince them, let's infantilize them. Let's keep them as sponges for as long as we possibly can. Let's call them fragile. Let's call them timid. Let's say that they're wounded by words. Let's just say that they're thin-skinned. They're bubble-wrapped brains atop balsa wood spines, right? Just across the entire spectrum. Let's keep them as infantile as we possibly can, because we can manipulate them if they're sponges, right? They're worried about what we say. They're worried about whether you call them a Mick. They're worried about all these other things. But then for a normal group of people, I don't know, here's an idea. We grow up. We go through our dark night of the soul. We go through our bar mitzvah, our bat mitzvah, right? We go through our rite of passage. And then we go, all right, here's our rite of passage. We're sponges. Nothing we can do about it. We're catcher's mitts. We're always taking in information. But now that we've grown up, now that our brain is like, what are the doctors saying now? 22, 23, 24, maybe 25 years old before your brain fully is formed and knows what's going on? You get to that age, whatever that age might be, and you go, I think I'll start being a shield. And that's what I meant to say earlier in this week on social media when we're talking about the difference between a sponge, right? Which we are biologically, we're not arguing with them. But there are times when we grow up, there are times when we mortal up, that we become more of a shield. That means we block out all the stuff that doesn't support us, all the negativity that's trying to flood in, right? Just like our vision, just like our auditory, just like what we're able to smell or feel with the touch. We'd be overrun if our senses took in absolutely everything that was thrown our way. So I'm simply suggesting as we get a little bit older, a little bit smarter, we get to turn the tables on them and go, great, we're a sponge, but I think I'll be a shield, and I'm not going to let your words get through to me. Because think about it, it's not about hate speech. If you've listened to me all these years, you know that I think it's about hate hearing, right? That a healthy mind isn't hijacked by the words of another person. And look, in the debate of the personal pronouns and all the rest of this going on, right? If your mind can be turned into sheer pandemonium because of a pronoun someone uses to address you, it's like if a tree falls in the woods, do you really hear it? If your mind can be hijacked, if your mind can be sent into triggerable turmoil because someone uses a different pronoun, did you ever really have a mind in the first place? No, that's all I'm saying. Now I know, right? You're saying, Bri, you should be a little kinder to people. And here's the thing, and I've been thinking a lot about this since last week. Why would I be, and here's the thing, in terms of being offendable, then it's my job. If I bump into someone that's offendable, it's just like giving them some medicine to help them over. It's my job to offend them. It's your job to offend me. See if you can crack the case. Oh, I'm a nut, all right? See if you can crack the nut. What I'm suggesting is that when it comes to being offendable, it's an illness. There is something about an individual that is constantly worried about what other people think of him or her. So for me, at what stage do we go, I'm not putting up with these people. Why do I have to be kind? Why do I have to be understand? Look, I feel horrible for you people that your sense of self is on a precipice, and what I think or what I say or what I do or what I believe it derails you, sends you over the edge, I feel horrible for you. I really do. That's no way to go through life. That's pathetic. Who would let that happen? Who would want that for anyone? I wouldn't want it for the people that I know that are triggerable, right? I don't know why you'd be watching this show, because I have no intention of being nice. I have no intention of being kind, because that niceness and kindness has coddled you. It's cudgeled you to such a degree that you're worried about pronouns. And I'm simply saying, maybe it's time for a shield. And what I'm absolutely saying is that when it comes to the thought of being kind, then I'm an enabler, right? Or would you say to me, well, Brian, guy's an alcoholic, why don't you just saunter on over and give him something to drink? No, I'm not going to be an enabler. I'm not going to make it so it's easier for him or to her, right, to fall back into their alcoholism, to fall off the ladder, if you will. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not that bad a guy. Right? Now I know you're thinking St. Patrick's Day. Ooh, a little hot toddy for you there. Yeah, but you know what you know what I love for my hot toddies now? My hot toddies is the wild berry, the triple berry mix from Nutrient Survival. You put hot water in it, and good golly, it's like warmed Merlot. So here's the deal. If you're expecting me to be kind, I have no intention of being an enabler. If you're expecting, and let me ask another question. Why would I possibly be kind to a mindset that's hell-bent on ruining my kids and my grandkids, your kids and your grandkids' future? Look at the craziness going on in the world. Look at the mashugana. Why would I possibly, help me, honestly, help me. Send me an email, send me a text. You know how to get a hold of me. Why would I possibly be kind and compassionate? Why to people that are trying to hijack my kids' future, your kids' future? So when people go, well, that's just offensive, you know what I say now? I go, no charge, right? I'm doing it for your grandkids. Well, I don't give a crap about you, right? You're already gone. You think that words are weapons. I can tell you, and it's not always a popular opinion. I'll offer this to you. What is it called? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I now call them IEDs. Inclusion, equity, and diversity, right? Everyone wants no more meritocracy. It's mobocracy. But why? Even if it's just me, why would I be kind to someone that's trying to destroy my children's future? Think about it. All the craziness going on in the news, all over. I'm beginning to think that the most detrimental thing, isn't that interesting? The most detrimental thing to your mental health is big government, big food, big pharma, right? Big anything. Because it pulls you away from yourself. Look at all of the things going on in the world today. And I'm supposed to be kind to the people that are busy poking the bear? No, I don't think I will be. When I say mortal up, I'm talking about a kindred. I'm talking about people that really want to take a run at life, that are thankful for being put here in the first place. And go, well, I'm going to burn every minute that I can. I'm going to burn this gig down, and I'm going to keep running until life gives me everything that I deserve, given my efforts. You don't see me sitting around on a couch whining, oh, I can't get out. I saw this thing today. I don't know, did you see this? Somewhere on social media. Somebody texted me, or it popped in, or some kind of notification about this young person at Starbucks. Was told he had to work an 8-hour shift, and he was melting down. He was crying, saying, this is the worst day of my life. I don't know how I'll get through it. They're making me work 8 hours, and he's coming unglued. Is it any wonder we can't fill the military? Is it any wonder China or Russia is getting ready to clean our clocks? Nobody wants to work. No one wants to put in an effort. What did I hear the other day? 60-some% of the people eligible for military service are obese, couldn't pass a physical if you asked them to. Which makes me think about being a prepper. I know I'm doing a lot of thinking lately. It can't be good, right? It just can't be good. But a prepper simply means that you're not willing to make someone else responsible for you and your family in an emergency situation. You've decided, no, throw me the ball, I'll take it, I'm in, right? A sponge, again, get my family behind me, then I'll be a shield, get them in, sponge, shield. That's all a prepper is. But people want to be crazy, people want to badmouth. Oh, well, and here's another thing. I was thinking about this the other day as well. Supreme Court says police officers don't have to protect you. All the push, Biden signing an executive order, President Biden signing an executive order saying, oh, we're going to do everything we can to make it harder for Americans to be armed. So wait a minute, Supreme Court says police are under no legal obligation to protect you, to put themselves between you and a bad guy's bullet. No obligation whatsoever, none, zero, zip, zilch. Your hamlet, your village, your town, your city, your county, your state, your federal government, none of those law enforcement officers are held by law to risk their right, serve and protect. Kind of a soft goal. They're not interested in serving, protect you. Their guns are there to protect themselves. And then the people that are busy for making all the chaos, remember, mental health, number one thing that guarantees detrimental mental health is big government. My estimation. Now they're trying to take away your ability to defend yourself. So wait a minute, you can't call the police. They're not going to defend you, right? They want to go home at the end of the day. That shotgun in the rack is for them, not for you, simpleton. But wait a minute, now we're not allowed to defend ourselves and our families, thinking that, oh, we'll just dial 911 and the police will ride in on a big horse. They'll be the hero. No, you got to be your own hero, your own heroine. And that's what being a prepper is all about. And a prepper is knowing when to be a sponge. I'm taking. And then when they cross the line in the sand, it's time for you and I to be a shield. And I'm suggesting that maybe that time is coming. Maybe there's a little more need for you and I to be a shield now than there ever has been before, or maybe in a long time, right? Maybe at least in our lifetimes. Maybe it's time to be a shield. Because the powers that be look like they're trying to tip it. They don't look like they're here to help you and me. So what are we going to do to make sure that we're not a victim? First thing we do is we grow up and we realize there's times where we throw up the shield. We don't let the words of another person derail us. We don't let all these other things going on affect us, because we know in that moment when we're called, what is it? For whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. John Donne, No Man is an Island, right? For whom the bell tolls, or help me, the guy that loved the cats from, for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee, right? Hemingway, thank you. And that was my own mind talking to me, right? Or have you met my shadow this evening? We had to do the lighting a little different, my alter egos. We had to do the lighting a little different tonight because it's so windy out here. We had to anchor the lights down. So I apologize for the shadows behind me, but that's just the way my mind works. All right, so for who the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. You and I might have to be more of a shield for our kids. Report out yesterday that says the way we act, our kids talk about sponges, especially our little ones. They're busy seeing how we handle the situations. Maybe it's on you and me to be a little more of a role model. Maybe it's on you and me to be a little more of a hero. Maybe it's on you and me to be a little more of a prepper, to be prepared. It's not nuts. Actually, it makes pretty good sense to me. Not to be in a situation where you're relying on someone else to save your bacon. Right? It's not the way it's supposed to be. So before we get ready to get out of here, I promise 20-minute victories. What can I do right now for the next 20 minutes? Move me. It's so cold. I think my lips are freezing. And my vocal cords are on the way if it weren't for this drink from Nutrient Survival. I'll tell you much. Remember, 1/72nd of your day. So any of the stuff that you think that I've said is too crazy, here's the big ask. Will you take 1/72nd of your day, 20 minutes, 1/72nd of your day, mortal up, and see if I'm not telling you the truth. Look at the flames. Spend some time. Look into the mirror. Stand there long enough for the mirror to stare back at you. And tell me if I'm not right. Is it time for you to be more of a shield? At least an equal balance of sponge and shield. Maybe it's time for you and I to draw the line in the sand and say, we're not putting up with this anymore. I've absolutely had it. It's time. Because, right, when you talk about the Stockholm Syndrome, we may have talked about this last week, we'll talk about the Stockholm Syndrome from the bank in Stockholm where the people that were hostages ended up testifying for the bad guys because they had some kind of bond with them. Well, you look at the sycophants that are into politics these days, and you look and you go, man, none of them seem to be looking out for anyone other than themselves. What is it now they say, what is it now they say about senators and representatives that have stocks in the same companies that they're busy making laws about? Wake up. And here's another thing. Oh, we're going to run just a little bit over, but let me say this. I think all my life, I've wanted to stand up against bullies. That's why I went in the military. It's why I went into law enforcement. It's why I created the concept called Mortal Up, to stand up to bullies. And I used to think, oh, you know, big government's a good target. Used to think big pharma's a good target. Used to think big food, good target. And now I realize that, yes, there are Lex Luthers, but there are a lot of Linus Van Pelts. There are a lot of people that are simply going to buy in because it's an authority figure, because it's a popular figure, because they have all kinds of a following, and they're going to do, even though it goes against their heart, it goes against their spine, it goes against their very marrow. They're going to do what Lex Luthor says because they're Linus. They got the security blanket. They're busy sucking their thumb. Oh, I'm triggered. Oh, I'm upset. Oh, I'm offended. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. The whole time Lex Luthor's just going, we're playing them like the sponges that we need them to be so that we can distract them with all kinds of baloney and then do what we want. And we'll be able to build enough of the Linus Van Pelts that the people that decide to mortal up, the people that decide to be there for their families, the people that decide to be there for themselves, they'll be outnumbered. And boy, I hope I'm wrong, but we sure seem to be entering that time. All right, I ran a little bit over. My apologies. We'll look forward to seeing you next week here on Friday Night Firelight. If you have someone, maybe a family member that's particularly triggerable, yeah, I wouldn't suggest the show. Right, this is probably about the time people go, oh, please make sure to like us and subscribe. I couldn't care less. Right, especially if that's the way you're going to be. I have no need to be nice to you. I have no need to be kind to you. Let's leave on that note. I have no need to be kind to the very people that are trying to hijack my kids' future. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much as always. Email me, tweet me, Facebook me, leave a comment if you like. If there's anything that I can do or that you'd like to see here on the show, give us a holler. Thank you again for everybody at Wirecast, most certainly at Firebugs and Nutrient Survival. Thank you guys so very, very much. We will see you next week. And until next time, 20 minutes a day, that's all it takes. Mortal up. You'll be very glad that you did, because I think the sentence that I'll leave you with is mortal up or be put down. That time's coming.